I found a dead body in the back seat of my rental car. This happened about 12 years ago when my friend and I were working for a moving company in Texas. We had a pretty long drive day from Dallas to Houston. Our earliest clients would let us sleep in their driveway until it was time to load up the truck. So we saved money on hotels and motels and slept in the back of the truck instead. The drive was uneventful, and we arrived at our next client's house around 9 p.m., but they weren't home yet. The husband said he would leave the garage door opener with his wife so that we could just drive straight into the garage, unload, and leave. We were getting tired, so we went straight to sleep in the back of the truck. We woke up to what sounded like screams in the middle of the night. My friend and I started freaking out, thinking that maybe we were being attacked. We didn't have cell phone service out there, but we did have two-way radios. I turned it on and yelled for help. A few minutes later, a voice came over the radio saying, "What's going on? Is everything okay?" It was one of the movers. I explained to him where we were and that we needed some help because we thought someone was trying to break into the truck. He said that he would send someone right over. In the meantime, I started looking around outside the truck to see if I could find anyone or anything that might have caused those noises. I saw some deer tracks near the truck, which made me feel a lot better, but I still couldn't help but feel like someone was out there watching us. Every little noise made me jump. About 30 minutes later, one of the other guys from work showed up and asked if we were okay. We told him what happened, and he said that he would stay with us until the couple came home. We appreciated the help, but we couldn't keep him there all night. Plus, we knew that the couple would come home soon, and they would unappreciate us sleeping in their driveway with another guy from work. So we thanked him anyway, and he left. My friend and I decided to go back to sleep, but we didn't get much rest. Every time we started to doze off, we would hear another loud noise, and we would just end up sitting there awake. At around 6 a.m., the husband called to let us know that he was on his way. We were so relieved. Finally, we would be able to get some sleep. We watched as he pulled into the driveway and started walking towards us. As he got closer, we could see that he was carrying a rifle. I panicked and yelled for my friend, and we both ran to the back of the truck. The man stopped and yelled, "What are you doing? You supposed to be asleep?" We explained that we were, but we couldn't because of all the commotion outside. He looked at us for a second and then said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Just go back to sleep. I'll wake you up when it's time to move." We thanked him and tried to climb back into the truck, but we were too late. We had already called the cops and we were arrested for trespassing. Turns out the dead body in the back seat of the rental car was actually a mannequin. I was driving down a deserted country road in Texas with my girlfriend and our two dogs. The sun was setting, and we were having trouble finding a place to stop for the night. We had driven from Austin to San Antonio and were almost to our destination, but we had gotten lost and didn't realize it until now. We finally spotted a farmhouse off in the distance and decided to drive up and ask if we could park our car in their driveway for the night. We knocked on the door and introduced ourselves to the people who lived there. They were very nice and agreed to let us park in their driveway. They even invited us in for dinner. But we declined because we wanted to keep things PG. So we sat in the driveway and started making small talk with our hosts. As the evening wore on, things started to feel a bit weird. Their son came outside to join us, and he kept staring at my girlfriend. He started to feel uncomfortable, and we told our hosts that we were going to bed. They said that we were welcome to stay in their guest house. We declined again, insisting that we were fine in the car. As soon as they went back inside, we got into our car and started to make love. About 10 minutes later, we heard screaming in the woods behind the house. We were freaked out and we started honking the horn. The screaming stopped, and then we started hearing what sounded like gunshots. My girlfriend and I started freaking out, and we decided to drive away. As we were pulling out of the driveway, the father came running out and started yelling at us. He said that we were disturbing his son and that he wanted us to leave immediately. We apologized and said that we were sorry, but we were freaked out and we just wanted to get away. He told us to get the hell out of there, and we did. As soon as we were out of sight, we floored it and drove away as fast as we could. Looking back, we probably should have called the police, but we were just so freaked out by the whole thing that we didn't even think about it. All we could think about was getting away from that house as fast as possible. I had no idea that my dad was dead. I grew up in a small town in Texas and never really felt the need to explore the nearby countryside. But after I graduated high school, I decided to take a road trip with some friends. We drove past the town I grew up in and then turned onto a dirt road that ran alongside a creek. The road was bumpy and rutted, but it was also beautiful. We passed by old barns and dilapidated houses, and then we came to a clearing. In the middle of the clearing was an abandoned house that looked like it had been here for 100 years. We decided to explore the house and the surrounding area. As we walked around, we found all sorts of interesting things, like old bottles, rusty tools, and broken furniture. We also found a shed in the back of the property, and we were curious about what was inside. When we opened the shed door, we were met with a horrible stench. We could see something lying in the corner, and we didn't want to go any closer. We decided to call the local police and tell them about the shed. They sent someone out to investigate, and that's when they made the grim discovery. It turns out that the smell was coming from a dead body that had been in the shed for years. The body was so decomposed that it was impossible to identify, but the police eventually learned that it belonged to my dad. He had been missing for over 20 years. All this time, his body had been rotting away in a shed on some abandoned property. I never knew my dad, as he died before I was born. But when I heard that he had been found, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. After the police finished their investigation, they left the body in the shed. They didn't want to disturb it any more than they had to, and they didn't want to bring it into town. So they burned the shed to the ground. And now all that is left of my dad is a pile of ashes in some random field in Texas. That concludes today's terrifying tales, and we thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, please show your support. We'd really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to subscribe.